Hello, friends, beautiful people. It's Catherine, 5D visionary, elevated consciousness coach. There we go. Hello. Sorry. Little tech trouble. I'm going to see who's going to jump on and join us here. I wanted to talk a minute about what's going on with this mass recalibration that we're experiencing. And this talk is really for those who are self-identified as healers, energy healers, way showers, placeholders for the new earth, those who are already doing healing work. I know, Courtney, was it just yesterday? Hi, Nicole. Those who are already doing the work of healing, coaching, mentoring others, doing some form or another of spiritual awakening with their clients, healing work, energy healing. They have a method, a modality, etc. This talk is really for you folks because I want to talk about something that's really, really important right now. And we need to shine a light on something that is happening. And I'm seeing it throughout the collective, but also not just the planetary collective, but the collective of those who are here doing healing work as well. Those who are being placeholders for the new earth and forging forward in their work to anchor this timeline and stabilize it, anchor it, make it real. And especially for those of you who are doing that, who don't feel very supported right now, who are all over the place energetically, up one day, feeling on top of your game, feeling inspired, following creative impulses with ease, and then the next day feeling chronic doubt, feeling like a fraud, feeling like a failure, feeling like an imposter. And I'm going to really put some stuff on the line here and be totally open, honest, and candid about what's going on and what needs to be talked about a lot more in our spiritual community. It's not even being talked about. Not that I've heard, but it needs to be. It's kind of like we're trying to look the other way and like, la la la, stay positive, just pretend that it's not happening and let's just keep going. Yet at the same time, you can't help but keep one eye open and be looking at all the outward messaging and buying into the fear, even though you have a lot of tools in your spiritual toolbox to keep you from doing that. You can't help it. You can't help yourself. It's like driving by the scene of an accident. You got to look. And it's throwing you off your game even more when you do that. We're aware of so many things happening. Like we are, those of us who are healers, way showers, placeholders of the new earth, we're very good at keeping ourselves fairly abreast of things that are happening in the world while not being sucked into it. But this feels like it's a day-to-day shift. Some days we're really good and very adept at not paying attention or not giving our attention, awareness, focus, our energetic investment over to keeping these false timelines funded. But it's like we can't help ourselves at the same time. And we find the fear porn highly seductive. And I want to address that here. So back at the end of 2019, I did just a really brief talk, and it's on my YouTube channel, and I can find it and I can post it here. But I gave a talk about how the divide and conquer timelines on this planet are going to get even stronger, even more fierce. The messaging is going to be even more powerful, stoking fear, stoking that monster, poking the bear of your ego and all your survival level mentality, and that it was going to get more accelerated and it's going to get more desperate in the messaging, meaning it's trying to hit you over the head all the time. So these divide and conquer timelines, who do they work best for? And you could argue maybe they're by design really for a group of people on this planet because it does something very unique and specific to those of us who are healers and way showers. So divide and conquer timelines, if you don't know what those are, it is basically a way to create and perpetuate the illusion of separation among the masses. And it works very well as a false timeline, artificial software to keep us in this energy of other. And it doesn't take much to look at what's happening on the playing field of planet Earth right now and seeing these in effect and what they're doing and the damage that they're causing. Would you agree? So we can see how that's playing out in the external reality and on the world stage of the planetary collective. But I would argue that divide and conquer timelines and the use of them, the employment of them, works particularly well for a group of people on this planet known as light healers, energy healers, way showers, placeholders of the new earth. Anyone who identifies with being someone who, in their work, in their service to their communities, helps to drive that needle forward towards an evolved, higher consciousness. Those divide and conquer timelines work very, very well. And the reason they work very, very well for us is because it creates inner division. So in order for divide and conquer timelines to work on a planetary collective scale, they have to do their work very well on an internal sense, in our internal reality. So those of you who identify as being healers, where are you feeling at odds with yourself? It's a very easy way to simplify that. If you are feeling one day very inspired, ready to take on the world, ready to create a new program, ready to lead more people in your community towards their higher destiny, their highest expression of self, and then 5 minutes later, a day later, 5 days later, your energy is depleted. You feel like, what's it all for? I can't even pay my rent. What the fuck am I doing? This call is for you. Okay? So we overlook, and it's not being talked about enough in our spiritual community, that these divide and conquer timelines actually work the best, in my opinion, on those of us who are specifically here and have a calling, mission, purpose, whatever you want to say it is, to drive the needle forward in ascending consciousness on this planet. Because those who would hold us back from our ascension timeline, from evolving the consciousness, moving into unity consciousness here on planet Earth, are highly invested in doing everything that they possibly can to keep us from that. Because then we're not easy to manipulate, dominate, or control. And everything right now, that's working really well, by the way, is about manipulation, domination, and control. And to some degree, and again, I said this at the outset, I'm going to be very honest and candid and open here, that all of us are susceptible to that. Even those of us who are steadfast in their purpose, mission, higher calling, whatever you want to say, we are very susceptible to that. We are kind of looking at the narrative out of the corner of our eye all the time to see what it's doing next. The fear porn narrative, the death culture narrative, I like to call it, or the death culture timeline. Because we want to see, can I keep doing this work, or should I just go and get a job and get a paycheck? If you're asking any of these questions right now, why do I feel so lit up one day and so defeated and depleted the next? Why do I feel like I'm running on fumes? Why do I feel like suddenly where I had a community that was growing is now screeching to a halt and is dead in its tracks? Does anyone resonate with what I'm talking about here? And this is on my personal page, so if there's anyone that you would like to tag, if you're watching this on my personal page, please do, and I would invite you to please share this. Okay. So those who would hold us back from ascension want us to feel like, fuck my life, what's the point of this anyway? Because then that means that we won't be doing our work, our divine and sacred work, by the way, of leading communities that we are in charge of to a place of power and sovereignty, because we're not willing to bolster, support our own sense of strength. And maybe we're so spun out we don't even know how. Maybe we don't even know where to begin. We don't even know where to begin to start looking at, well, why aren't we making the money that we were making? Why don't we feel like our ideas and inspirations for what we would offer next are lighting us up anymore? Why don't we feel that the things that light us up can also make us money and provide some sort of security and stability for us? So the survival level mentality on this planet at the time is, I would say, at an all-time high for what most of us have experienced generationally. Okay. So those of you who grew up, I'm 50 next week. So those of you who, are around the same age group as me, we don't have anything in our own personal lifetime and timeline that we can compare this to. So this feels entirely unique. We haven't lived through a world war, or any kind of major health crisis like we're in. We don't have anything to compare this experience to. Okay. And what we are constantly looking for when we delegate our attention, focus, and awareness to the ego level and the survival level state, what we are constantly looking for is comparisons. And in that, we're dulling our light even more, because those of us who are called to do healing, and we have services that we offer, we have offerings, we have sessions, we have group programs, we have whatever it is that we do to help bolster and support our community, those who we serve. We look at what we're doing, and then we constantly make comparisons outside of us. Well, here's someone who's doing something like I'm doing, but look at the bank that she's making, or look at what a following she has, or blah, 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 whatever the fuck it is that we see. And we're like, that should be me. Okay. What we see in social media is a lie a lot of the time. Let's just call it for what it is. It's a facade. There are, sure, lots of people who are in integrity, but we can't dismiss or discount the fact that what we see on social media is largely a highlight reel of what's going right in people's lives. Okay? You weren't kidding when you said you were on a roll right now. Yeah. That's what 3 weeks of being in the shitter will do to you. It brings a lot of clarity and focus. So when we are making these outward comparisons, we are dulling our light, and we're taking the attention and focus away from the divine inherent gifts that were bestowed upon us by higher, more evolved energies, our gifts to bear, things that when we decided to incarnate in this Earth timeline at this auspicious time on planet Earth, by the way, we decided, we were selected, whatever you want to think about in terms of you incarnating here. It's not random, by the way. You could have incarnated anywhere, anytime, any timeline, in any multidimensional perspective, yet you are here. Your now dominant timeline is here. Meaning the bulk of your energy is invested in this particular timeline at this moment, at this juncture on planet Earth. That is not random, okay? So you have gifts to bear, skill sets, abilities, etc., that you are meant to be here and express and share with others. You're never meant to keep it to yourself. I mean, those of you who feel like you are really called to the work that you do, and you feel very strongly about that, it's because you were never meant to bring it here, express it here, and keep it for yourself. It's meant to expand out, ripple out, and help many people. And so if you are being kept from that, and I don't want to place too much emphasis on external circumstances, because it is always an inside job, it's always an inner decision whether we will succumb to those external perceived realities and misperceptions or not. Okay? But what is happening right now, and we can't argue that is that to some degree, and I'm going to call everybody out in the spiritual community right now. Sorry, not sorry. I'm going to call everybody out in the spiritual community right now that to the degree that we are buying into the fear porn and the fear narratives and the death culture timeline, and death culture timeline doesn't ultimately lend itself into us believing in our own demise, but it's the death of creativity. It's the death of creation, and creation has many forms, okay? So that could be your creative ideas and inspirations. The death culture timeline makes sure that those get squashed if we're buying into the fear, that is, okay? So I'm going to call everybody out here, including myself, and that not only buying into that fear, but also the comparisons. We are buying into the false perception that we're imposters, that we're frauds, that we're charlatans, that, we're just playing with smoke and mirrors and doing our work, and hopefully people won't find out who we really are. And all of this stuff is not real. It's an illusion. But to some degree, we're all buying into it just a little bit, some more than others. And it is hobbling your ability to step up in your strength, in your resolve, in your fortitude, despite outward influences, to show up in the fullness, in the wholeness, in the authentic, genuine nature of you and do the work that you're here to do. And you're allowing it to happen. That's the other kicker. Because no one is forcing you to buy into the illusion. Okay? Please understand and take full responsibility for, because if you're here to really serve others and bolster your community and drive the needle forward on this ascension timeline, you've got to own your own shit first. Okay? And this was a big part of my my 3-week inner retrograde, ascension symptoms breakdown, etc. Okay? So who else is feeling me on that? And it's okay to admit it. It's okay to be in this space and admit it. So I've been doing something really interesting in my In Alignment and Thriving group. And as part of that program, we're wrapping it up right now. As part of that program, I was offering each of the members a 30-minute session with me. It's a group program, but each member of that group program, I knew it was the right thing to do. This is a big piece of following your intuition right now. You got to listen to it. Even if it's painful and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You got to listen to it. This time around, because I've taught this program 3 times, this time around I got this strong impetus, a big drive, like a huge push to offer each member in that program a 30-minute session with me. So as I've been closing these out and doing these sessions, these one-off sessions with each of the members of this program, there has been a running theme. And pretty much everyone who's had a one-on-one session with me is a healer, a way shower, etc. in their own right. They already have a healing business. They're already doing that work of helping others in their own personal growth and transformation to one degree or another. And the running theme, the foundational narrative of pretty much every conversation that I've had with these folks is that, yes, Nicole, absolutely, do it, because we need to talk. Especially if you're watching right now and you're triggered and you resonate with this, okay? That they feel like a fraud, that they feel like an imposter, they don't know what they're doing. 1 minute they feel on top of their game, creative inspiration all over the fucking place, and then the next minute, womp womp. Totally want to just stick their head in the sand, withdraw from society, fuck everyone who's not awake. This is okay to feel this way, by the way. I'm not calling anybody out and judging anybody. It's okay, because we all feel this in the healing community. We're just not willing to say it, okay? But I can't be worth my weight in salt if I don't say this shit, because it's on your minds, it's on all of our minds, but we need to say it, we need to call it out for what it is. The link is in the group, Nicole, so just make sure you book. And if you don't see anything available, you can talk to me on Saturday. We're all comparing each other, we're all comparing ourselves to someone else who looks like, if we're looking at their social media platforms and all these other things, they look like they're on top of their game or whatever, and they might be. But I would bet dollars to donuts that they feel like a fraud and an imposter right now too. Because that's how strong these false timelines, this artificial machinery of divide and conquer timelines, which are just, the umbrella is the false timeline, and underneath that, a subset of that is the divide and conquer timelines. And who these divide and conquer timelines work best for are those of us who are here as self-identified healers, and it creates a rift and a separation within us because of all the feelings that we have of, I'm a fraud, I'm an imposter, who am I to talk about this? I can't even get my own shit together. And the other piece is, when we make those comparisons, we feel like we should be operating at a level of perfection, that we have to have all our shit together, all of our ducks in a row, our life on point, thousands and thousands of dollars in our bank account, making investments with high-ticket coaches, doing all this shit before we can even step up and heal others. If we did that, if we operated on that premise, there would be no fucking healers out there. Thanks, Hayes Nicole. Thank you for saying that. She says, that was my immediate response to my PayPal denial. And then I was like, nope, let me see what my options are. Here's the thing. The more that we delegate our level of consciousness, our awareness and attention to the divide and conquer timelines that we will allow to take hold within us. If we allow ourselves to have that take hold within us, we'll look at all the survival level state mechanisms in place, because right now survival level mentality is high. So our cognitive bias towards negativity is also high. Okay? So we're going to look at all the ways we're failing in our business. We're going to look at all the ways we're failing as a healer. We're going to look at all the failures, plural, that we've had, in the last week or so. But here's the rub, you guys. And this is something I've talked about a couple times with folks today. Hi, Danielle. I was just going to tag you. This is what I was talking about with some of the members of the group today, is that we need to go and take an inner inventory of all of those times where we did show up in the highest level of service for those in our community that needed help. And we provided a step. We provided a plan of action. We provided inspiration. And here's the thing about how I serve in my community. I inspire the fuck out of my community. I do. The last class that I taught in Alignment, I was on a roll that day too. Because we were talking about money, and we were talking about being disempowered with money, and we're talking about how our saboteurs, which are, we all have inner saboteurs, and how we feel like we are under attack from our inner saboteurs right now. Yes, of course, because we're delegating most of our awareness to survival level state mentality. So I was talking about, we have to see ourselves on the other side of these saboteurs. And if we don't take notice of where we are doing right by ourselves, where we are showing up for ourselves instead of against ourselves, we're going to be stuck in our own personal divide and conquer timeline. And the more that we are stuck in our own personal divide and conquer timeline, trying to climb out of that hole, is that much more time that we're not there for our community and those we are here to serve. And guess what? Those we are here to serve are craving even more of our guidance, even more of our leadership, more than ever, but we will not be able to stand up and do that and be in our integrity unless we've built up strength and fortitude and we feel supported. And a lot of us, again, honesty here, we don't feel very supported right now. We just don't. So maybe you can guess where this is going. I'm really good at, and I have a very strong gift for, being able to see and get at the nuggets and pieces. When I see people have a challenge or a problem, they might be talking about one thing and they might be hitting the edge of this problem, but I tend to go right to the heart of it, and I can do it very quickly. I have a gift with that. I also have a gift with calling people on their bullshit and going right to the heart of something and saying, well, here's where you're deluding yourself. Here's where you think you're playing a game with something outside of you, but you're actually playing a game with yourself. Okay? We are on our divine timeline. And you get to choose. Divine and conquer or divide and conquer. It's an inner decision. And we all have the same amount of power, we have the same amount of free will ability to choose and to make that decision. Okay? And I'm also really good at inspiring people. And that's my particular level of support that I give. So for those of you who are inspired by this talk, and you feel like I am talking to you, I'm going to have a 2-month container of support. Yes, you guessed it, it's on Zoom, because everything is on fucking Zoom right now. We have no choice. But it's going to be for those, self-identified as healers, way showers. Again, people who are already doing this work. This is not for people who are thinking about starting a spiritual business, thinking about taking clients on. These are for people who are already doing this work, okay? If you want that, I have a whole other program devoted to that. It's In Alignment and Thriving for Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. When you sign up for In Alignment and Thriving Core Program, you can get that for $250 extra when you sign up at full price for In Alignment and Thriving Core. If you're interested in that, message me. But this is for those who are really feeling called up in the light of the world's events, don't like seeing where planet Earth is going, don't like seeing this major pattern interrupt at the moment. Yes, it's part of a great reset, but it's a pattern interrupt that is not necessarily taking us in the most wholesome ways. And we want to make sure that we are doing our work to strengthen our resolve, to create inner fortitude, to feel supported, to feel inspired, so that we can follow through on our creative impulses. Because it's not that we're not having creative impulses and creative desires and we're not imagining a new earth. It's that when we succumb to the fear porn, the inner divide and conquer timelines, we leave it by the wayside and we say, what's the point? So this is for those of you who are feeling that. This is for those of you who are looking at your bank account and you're so hooked into where is the money going to come from that it hobbles your creativity, it kills your imagination, because these are two mutually exclusive states that we occupy. The one where you're focused on money and the security and stability around money is going to keep plugging you into the source grid of the old earth, which is a grid that is harnessing your energy instead of funding energy. But when you're really in your creativity, when you are following those impulses and you're in the flow of then taking those impulses and turning it into, transmuting it into something that's real and tangible and shareable, that's when you are plugged into a different source grid. And if we're getting to the point just before we can plug into that source grid and we go back to the old earth grid, we're going to hobble our energy every single time. We're going to cut ourselves off from the flow of trust. We're going to cut ourselves off from the flow of money. We're going to cut ourselves off from the flow of service and being able to deserve because you serve, meaning feeling like you're worthy of making money. If you keep plugging into the old earth grid, you're never going to feel worthy enough. You're never going to feel enough, period, whatever it is. Supportive enough, loving yourself enough, trusting yourself enough, feeling capable enough, whatever it is. So over 2 months, we're going to be in the space of bolstering, buffering, guiding, helping each other navigate, supporting, inspiring each other. This is for women. This is for healers. These are for those who are the placeholders of the new earth. And it's going to be a very low investment. So it's only going to be $99 a month. And you can either pay up front for it for 2 months and save $10 by paying up front for 2 months, or you can pay $99 a month. It's up to you. And when I get the group posted, which will be very soon, if you would like me to tag you on that and you want to join, please join. So we're going to start on February 3rd. We're going to meet at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays for 8 weeks. Depending on where this container takes us, it's going to be very organic. It's going to be very free flow. It's going to be me tapping into what you guys need in the moment. And that will be our plan of focus for the day. It's not like I'm just going to be like, oh, you guys are great. I have actual tools in my toolbox as well as inspiration. And it's a place for you to get insight, a place to gain some wisdom, a place to gain greater trust with yourself, feel more capable. You know, move into that place of having stronger inner resolve that no matter what is happening outside, I don't care what the outward influences are, I'm doing this. This is happening. I'm serving my community in this way. And if I'm this resolute, of course the money is going to show up. If I am this fortified, strong in my resolve, I'm this courageous and brave, just as I am here today and speaking out and calling things out for what they are. If you identify with that and you want more of that, you want to be a strong and courageous leader, then this is for you. If you feel right now that anything outside of you is responsible for hobbling your growth, this program is for you. This container is for you. It's not even really a program. It's like a 2-month support group for a very, very low investment. And all of us working towards a common goal, stepping up, serving our community, making sure that we have the support that we need, whether superficial or otherwise, to do the great work that we're here to do, regardless of outward experiences, regardless of outward messaging, regardless of external realities that we think are at play. So if this is for you, I invite you to join us. And I can't wait to get started because this feels very timely. It feels very inspired. This is the support that you need. If you are in a major funk, you find yourself at the beginning of this year and you are in a major funk, you can't see too far down the road, please understand that this is what's happening. We are recalibrating. So what you've done and how you've stepped up to the healing plate before is going to feel different now because you are in a different vibration now. You are in a different frequency now. Because the earth is in a different elevated threshold now of frequency and vibration. We are all changed by this because we are of planet Earth and she is of us. When she elevates, so do we. When the human collective elevates, so does she. So we are in a place of calibrating. That's why everything feels so off. That's why nothing seems to take hold. That's why nothing feels like it's concrete yet, because we're building it. And so those of you who like structures, you liked stability, you liked consistency, we don't have that right now because it's incumbent on us to build the structures now that will create that going forward. And it's really those of us who identify as healers, way showers, placeholders of the new earth that are the best and most adept at doing that. And yes, I will make the bold claim that creating the new earth really falls on the leadership of those of us who are wearing the mantle of way showers. And if you are not strong and resolute and courageous and confident and bold, empowered and supported in your mission to do that, then it's like you're saying, well, then somebody else is better at that because that's not me. This is for those who are driven by a strong purpose, a strong mission, and want to be supported, want to be held in a container, want to be able to take steps moving forward in confidence. This is for you. Today, ego has been attempting to convince me that the world... Hold on. I'll have to go to a different place to read this. Let me find it. Because I want to read your comment, Nicole. Come on now. Okay. I can't see any comments. This is weird. See? Divide and conquer timelines. They don't want us to come together. They don't want us to be emboldened and strong and powerful. Let me see if I can find the comment here. Today, ego has been attempting to convince me that the world would be better off without me. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. I'm okay even when I am not okay. Leaning in with curiosity. What else is here? Who am I asking myself to become? Pain is in direct proportion to the distortion. The more it hurts, the deeper the lie. Or the deeper the lie, the more it hurts. Because we are being lied to about the nature of reality. We always have been. Actually looking forward to what is birthing through this. Meshuggahs. Saboteurs on high alert. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Everything is on high alert. We feel like we are under attack from our saboteurs right now. And this is going to feel even more acute for those of us who are here to drive the timeline forward on this planet. We can't help but feel it the strongest, okay? Because when we as healers get taken out of rotation, which is pretty much a systemic attack on healers at the moment, when more of us are taken out of rotation, the more the false narrative gets to continue. Pretty simple equation. I can't let that happen. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. I'm not here for that. I'm not here to give in. I'm not here to cave. I'm not here to acquiesce. I'm not here to consent. The most terrifying yet exhilarating thing that I know as part of my core truth, and this is what this container will help you get at more and more as your core truth, is that I'm here to help break down, to assist in the breakdown and the deconstruct of all the false structures that held reality in place in the first place, and to help reconstruct, redefine, and refine what the new structures are. And anyone who resonates with that, you are most welcome to join this group. So it's going to start February 3rd. We're going to meet at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays in Zoom. I will have all the recordings in a Facebook group that we will share. And we will be able to meet and have discussion support in the Facebook group for one-off sessions when we need to, outside of Zoom calls. But, you know, I used to resist having stuff on Facebook, but the platform works so well as a free platform, and I like operating just under the radar of those that would censor us and doing the work in spite of what the narrative might be and the tools in place on platforms like Facebook. I like doing the work right underneath their noses. It makes me feel good. It's the rebel in me. I refuse. I may go down the rabbit hole at first, and then I'm reminded of my value and light and purpose. Yes, absolutely. So there's going to be incredible tools, incredible inspiration, and leadership in this group. If you're called to it, please come join us. For $99 a month for 2 months, you really can't beat it. So if you want me to tag you when I create this post, please let me know and I will share it with you. And feel free to share this video with people that you know would benefit from it, who would be interested in something like this. Let's band together with as many of us as possible, because where we are more than one, we are really powerful. Where we gather in groups with a common goal, a common interest, a common drive, a common purpose, a common agenda for creating more wholesome earth, we are very powerful. All right, lovelies. Love and light, love and peace. Stay strong. Don't get sucked into the fear vortex. You're too strong. You're too smart. You are too wise for that. Okay? Bye-bye.